Hey everyone, Mr. Sujano here, your source for gaming, tech, emulation, and open source news. Let's get started. Alright, to kick things off, we're talking about Killer Instinct 1 and 2 emulation with BigInstict. You may recognize the developer of this one as Rich Whitehouse, who is behind the very popular BigPmu. And this emulator is, it's taken a very interesting turn. Now, Rich is continuing it on, it's about to release. And this one is very exciting. So Rich says the beta release of BigInstict is coming next week. I've made a video demonstrating some of the features, including silky smooth netplay with up to 16 frame rollback. And oh yes, brand new stereo sound. And here's the interesting path the emulator has taken to date. And I mean, we've talked about this in a previous video, but here's a refresher right from Rich. This emulator was created because a company approached me to make a licensed Killer Instinct emulator, then held the emulator itself hostage over additional labor at an insultingly low rate. I still wanted to make the emulator, but decided it would be better to stand by my principles and make it on my own time, while seeing what I could manage from crowdfunding. As of this writing, I put around $25,000 of labor at my last known market value into making this thing from scratch for roughly $200 in crowdfunding compensation. Anyone who tells you I'm only doing this for money or grifting is a fool and or mouthpiece for the continued institutionalized exploitation of labor in emulation and reverse engineering. Don't be fooled into continuing to devalue your own labor in a race to the bottom, and don't pretend we live in a safe communist bubble in the middle of an oppressive capitalist economy. Global capitalism will feed on everything in its path, and only the ego-driven fool with a comfortable day job will give himself to it willingly. But let me know your thoughts about that one in the comments below. It may be perceived as controversial, but it really shouldn't be. Anyways, here Rich has done a lot for the emulation community. BigPmu has been amazing. And I'm very curious and hopeful for BigInstict. And on a quick side note here, because I get asked this question quite a bit, is Mr. Sujano my full-time job? My honest answer here is no, absolutely not even remotely close. This whole YouTube channel where I put out a video almost every single day is all done as a hobby and for fun. And that's for two main reasons. Number one, YouTube does not near pay enough for a sustainable income of any kind. Based on my size here, I couldn't live off that. And number two, I don't usually do ads on this channel. I have a lot of opportunities to do 30 and 60-second ads, and I just flat out don't. Partially because I don't have the time to do it. And secondly, because I don't have the time to do it. That's my honest answer to y'all. I mean, I wish I could do this full time. I really do, but I don't. So putting out a video here with what limited time I have is difficult, but I manage it. But moving on, and maybe later on I'll have a Q and A so you can get to know me a little bit better, but we'll have to wait and see on that one. Next up here, we're talking about RetroAchievements. And this is pretty big here. So this is the latest announcement from RetroAchievements. Our latest website update is now live. Massive download page overhaul, maintainer support for achievements, and team inbox is interactable on own account for team members. You can see their full list of changes over on their GitHub, or you can head on over to their forums and check them out there as well. If you are curious about this and wanted to learn more about it, like everything we talk about, links are in the description below right at the bottom. I don't hide my sources. Next up here, if you're a fan of Lego, if you're a fan of Mario Kart, you might be a fan of this here. No idea if this is real or fake. I would venture a guess and say it's real, but they're saying here possibly upcoming Lego Mario Kart Spiny Shell GWP. And it's going to be 234 pieces and released possibly in May 2025, so this month. Anyways, let me know your thoughts about this one in the comments below based on previous Lego sets from Nintendo. Next up, we're talking about something that I think a lot of people will be interested in, and that is Outrun on the Game Boy Color. Shane McGafferty is at it again, and I think this looks absolutely amazing. So he says here, worked more on the pixels, added the final music, tweaked handling, almost complete now. It's going to be a free one-stage demo, a what if. And I mean, if this game was on the Game Boy Color, based on what I can see here, I would say it would be an incredibly popular game. It looks really good, even right down to the animations of the car crashing. Let me know your thoughts about this one because I am very interested to hear what you have to say. And if you're interested in the music, Shane has also released some of that. The music and the gameplay can all be found over on Shane McCafferty's Twitter account, and like everything we talk about, again, links are in the description below at the bottom, so feel free to check it out if you're interested in learning more about it. Next up, we're talking about MindsEye, which is a game that I think releases in about a month. Anyways, gameplay for this game has released online, and it's showcasing GTA-like features. MP First has you covered for the footage and even more information about this if you are curious in checking it out here. I don't know how long this will stay up, if it'll stay up or if it'll be taken down. But I will say, looking at the footage based on my opinion, and it does look similar to GTA in a bunch of different aspects. This is an action game. It's set in the future, and it does look pretty cool. It's releasing on June 10th, and it's coming out for PlayStation, Xbox, and also PC. And speaking about consoles, MindsEye won't be releasing on. Next up, we're talking about the Switch 2 and Nintendo. I've got no idea if MindsEye will eventually hit the Switch 2, but at this point in time, I don't have any information on that. Anyways, here's the latest headline over on VGC. Nintendo is suing the accessory manufacturer, which is Genki, that showed off the Switch 2 early during CES. Now, if I'm not mistaken, and I think we've talked about this one in previous videos, during CES, Genki had a 3D printed Nintendo Switch 2 that they were showcasing behind closed doors to a bunch of different people, showcasing some features of the Switch 2 like the magnetic Joy-Cons, the Joy-Cons as a mouse, and even more here. And it seems as if they were doing stuff like that prior to CES. It seems as if Nintendo is seeking to recover all damages it has sustained as a result of the defendant's infringement, unfair competition, and false advertising. I've got no idea on dollar figure here, but this seems like it could be big. Who knows? The Switch 2 hasn't even sold yet, so I've got no idea. Anyways, here I'm curious to know if Genki actually had an NDA. It seemed there were a few companies leaking stuff out, and I'm curious to know if there was a screw up somewhere in the NDA or anything like that where Genki got a hold of information that they weren't necessarily restricted in releasing. Or maybe Nintendo thought that people were restricted in it, and turns out that they could release information. I've got no idea here, but I would be surprised if Genki did have an NDA and they broke that NDA in order to release information and maybe gain some popularity. That probably wouldn't bode well for future partnerships with Nintendo on anything. I've got no idea here. I'm very curious to see where this court case goes. But I don't know here. Let me know your thoughts about the entire matter on this one. I mean, I, for one, am very curious on this whole lawsuit. I'm very interested in it, and I'm very curious to see what information comes to light. I want to see Genki's side in this overall argument. I would say Nintendo suing people is nothing new, but this is a little bit different. I mean, if Genki was an NDA, they came across the information honestly and legally, then what's Nintendo going to do here? Either way, there's going to be a lot of information, I think, that comes to light that a lot of people will be interested in, myself included. And speaking about hardware, next up we're talking about something that I find super fascinating. So this one's over on Budget Build's official YouTube channel, and it's titled Minecraft on 8 megabytes of VRAM. Now, I wouldn't say this is something that everybody should attempt, but at the same time here, it's very, very fascinating on how they got Minecraft up and running with so little memory on a super old GPU. The GPU is like 20 years old or something. This whole build is crazy. It's not ideal. It's not necessarily practical, but at the same time here, the steps they took is super interesting. But who knows? Maybe the new question will be not if it runs Doom, because Doom runs on like everything. Not if it can run Linux, but can it run Minecraft? That's probably not going to be a thing, but who knows here. And speaking about fascinating things, next up we're talking about Android. And it's being reported here that Google is really working on a functional and very good desktop mode for their Android devices in Android 16. As far as I know, this will not be exclusive to Pixel, but Android just in general here. And it'll function similar to something like Samsung DeX. I would say this will be a huge step forward, something very, very good and very exciting. And I think a lot of people will really be looking forward to this. I mean, Android devices are getting more and more powerful. And I would say here, if you've got a very powerful Android device, this may replace the need for a laptop. Maybe not, but at the same time here, maybe depending on your needs. And speaking about replacing things, next up we're talking about NVIDIA. And if you've got an older NVIDIA GPU, you might be a little bit disheartened to hear that NVIDIA is encouraging CUDA users to upgrade from Maxwell, Pascal, and Volta. I wonder why. For a really in-depth look on the matter, Phoronix has you covered, and here's what NVIDIA is saying. Architecture support for Maxwell, Pascal, and Volta is considered feature complete and will be frozen in an upcoming release, and there are no further enhancements planned. Furthermore here, they say that offline compilation and library support will be removed in the next major CUDA toolkit version release. So if you're on an older GPU, like an NVIDIA 1000 series, which I think a lot of people are still using, like a 1070 or 1080 or anything like that, this is not really good news. And Phoronix says the NVIDIA Linux driver support via their legacy driver branches will continue to be maintained. But for those really caring about first-rate CUDA support, now is your time to consider upgrading. Next up, we're talking about Windows emulation on Android with, you might want to pronounce this one as XoDos or subscribe to Mr. Sujano, but it might be pronounced something like XoDos. Anyways, here, I don't know a whole lot about this one. I haven't used it yet. If you have, let me know your thoughts. But this one is a fully fledged X server with Termux and WinLater touch controls together in one app. It is built with an Android SDK. NDK. So at the time of filming, XoDos version 5.1.0 ARM64 no data is the latest release. It's a pre-release. So they say here for what's new, they've changed and fixed the UI. They've added more features for easier usage. They've added information about Android device and terminal, and even more. I have not tested this one out yet. I can't vouch for it, but if you've used it, let everyone know your experiences in the comments below. Next up here, we're talking about Arch Linux, and this is very interesting. It's being reported that you can now officially run Arch Linux inside of Windows. So you can now say, I use Arch, by the way, even if you still use Windows. I would say that this is probably not the ideal way to run Linux, but at the same time here, it does work. It's officially supported and it's working through the Windows subsystem for Linux. Next up here, we're talking about Planets vs. Zombies, and a lot of people seem to like this game, and a lot of people seem to be looking forward to the next game, which is Planets vs. Zombies 3. And it seems there may be some ideas here that were borrowed from a fan game, Planets vs. Zombies Fusion. Now we're obviously going to have to wait and see moving forward for more information about the game, including gameplay ideas and mechanics and all of that. But if they are using stuff from Planets vs. Zombies Fusion, I would hope that they would give that team some sort of kickback for utilizing their idea. Who knows here? It's kind of cool that if they are using the idea, it came from fans. But at the same time here, let me know your thoughts about this one. I don't want to get too presumptuous over something that hasn't officially been unveiled yet. And speaking about fan-made stuff, next up we're talking about Dino Crisis 2 Remake, where Dino Crisis 2 has been remade within the Unreal Engine and has been released. If you are curious about this one, they do have a trailer on YouTube, and I will say that the game looks really good. Now, this game is up on itch.io. It is 100% free unless you wanted to donate. It's kind of a name your own price. And it is for Windows here. It's a .exe file, but wow, this looks really good. And last up here, we're talking about RetroDeck. And if you're interested in learning more about RetroDeck behind the scenes and about the developers of it, you can. There is a developer interview over on lemmy.world, and it's their Q and A with the team behind RetroDeck. There is quite a bit here, but you can read up on the entire thing and learn more about the whole project, and I find stuff like this super interesting. But anyways, that is all I've got for you in this one. Straight to the point, all stuff and no fluff. We talked about a bunch today. Feel free to discuss anything we talked about in the comments below. If you like this video, leave a like. If you didn't like this video, leave a like. Hit that subscribe button. Check out my other videos. Don't tempt fate. Save your state.